You know that specific feeling? The one where you have plans to go out, maybe a dinner, a party, a meet, and you've been dreading it all day. And then your phone buzzes. They canceled. And suddenly, you don't feel disappointed. You feel euphoria, an instant wave of relief. You're back in your pajamas by 7 p.m., and you've never felt happier. If that sounds like you, society has probably given you a few labels. Flaky, antisocial, boring, or the classic. You need to get out more. But what if I told you that your desire to stay home isn't a flaw? It's not that you dislike people, and it's not that you're lazy. You are actually protecting something vital. If you are someone who finds paradise in a canceled plan, welcome. You're about to feel very seen. Today, we're breaking down the deep psychology of the homebody and why your brain might just be evolved for solitude. Here is the science that most people get wrong. We assume extroverts like people and introverts hate them, but it's actually about dopamine and stimulation. Psychologists call this optimal arousal theory. Imagine everyone has a bucket for stimulation. Extroverts have a massive bucket. It takes a lot of noise, new faces, loud music, and risk to fill it up so they feel alive. If they stay home, their bucket is empty, and they feel sluggish or bored. But your bucket is much smaller. It fills up instantly. A busy day at work, a traffic jam, or even a deep conversation. That's it. Your bucket is full. Any more stimulation doesn't feel like fun. It feels like physical stress. So when you choose to stay home, you aren't hiding. You are regulating. You are instinctively managing your nervous system to keep from overflowing. Science calls this low stimulation preference. It's not a weakness. It's a biological setting. But there's a second psychological layer here, and it's about control. Think about the outside world for a second. It is aggressively unpredictable. You can't control the temperature in the restaurant. You can't control the loud conversation at the next table. You can't control being perceived, judged, or interrupted. For people with high sensitivity or high empathy, that unpredictability is exhausting. You're constantly scanning the environment. But home is the controlled environment. You curate the lighting, choose the soundtrack, or the silence. You choose the texture of the blanket and the smell of the room. For the homebody, this isn't just about comfort. It's about safety. It is the one place on earth where you can drop the mask of performance and just exist. Here is something society rarely tells you. The people who stayed home are often the ones who changed the world. Historically and evolutionarily, we didn't just need the hunters and the explorers. We needed the keepers of the fire. The ones who stayed behind to think, to build, to plan, and to observe. Studies consistently show a strong link between solitude and creativity. When you aren't spending your energy processing social cues, your brain enters a state called the default mode network. This is where daydreaming happens. This is where complex problems get solved. While the world is out at the bar shouting over the music, you are home, traveling through your own inner universe. That isn't boring. That is a richness that money can't buy. However, we have to be honest with ourselves. Because there is a fine line between solitude and isolation. Solitude is when you stay home to recharge. You feel peaceful, creative, and rested. Isolation is when you stay home to avoid. You feel lonely, but leaving feels too heavy. If home has become a cage rather than a sanctuary, if you are staying in because of anxiety or depression that whispers nobody likes you anyway, that is different. One is peace. The other is fear. It is crucial to ask yourself, am I staying home to fill my cup or to hide from the world? But if you are staying home because it brings you genuine joy, that is called JOMO, the joy of missing out. You aren't missing out on the world. You are building your own. You're wired for depth over noise and peace over performance. So, tell me in the comments, are you a homebody or are you forced to be one?